Request all of you to kindly settle down. We are starting with our session. Please come to the front rows. Request you to please come to the front rows. Ben, I can see you. Please come to the front rows. Okay. So to be on time, let's start on time. Welcome all of you to the first thematic session for today and the fifth thematic session for this conference. This session is on food access, constraints, and facilitators. There are two co-chairs for this session, so let me invite the co-chairs and they will take it from there. Our first co-chair is Geeta Sethi. We just met Geeta in the last panel, so I'll not give a detailed introduction. She is the advisor and global lead for food systems at the World Bank. Welcome, Geeta. Can we have a round of applause? Our second co-chair for this session is Dr. Tahirul Islam Khan, who's a seasoned public health and nutrition expert with extensive experience in reproductive health, maternal and child health, and nutrition training. Currently, he serves as the director of the Bangladesh National Nutrition Council, which is an apex body for nutrition in Bangladesh, and has held leadership roles including deputy director at BIFPRI and program manager for National Nutrition Services. Welcome, Dr. Tahirul. I hand it over to you, Geeta, to take it forward. We all know the drill. People will come one by one, make their presentations and go back. And then for the Q&A, we request all the presenters to come up on the stage.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I feel very much honored to be here and co-chair with Dr. Geeta Sethi. Dear participants, for this 3 days seminar, all of you are aware of that the thematic session, food access, constraints and facilitators. We have 5 presenters. All presenters will get 8 minutes. Then question and answer part. After that, rapid fire presentations will be occurred. And first of all, I want to say something about food access. Food access is defined as the factors that influence an individual or household's ability to acquire food for an adequate diet while not compromising on other basic needs. Food security. Food security has the 6 dimensions. A situation that exists when all people at all times and economic access in sufficient, safe, and nutritious food that meets their dietary needs and food preferences for an active and healthy life. In South Asia, we know food access is alarming one. And we need to connect the dots how to overcome this insecurity, food insecurity. In Bangladesh, yet a remarkable progress, but yet the nutritional status is not so good. At present, under 5 children, stunting is 11%. Stunting is 24%. Wasting is 11%, underweight 22%. Exclusive breastfeeding 56%. And government has given the facilities as safety net programs all over the country. There are 128 social safety net programs in Bangladesh, and food access is overcome by, to some extent, these activities. Now I want to call the name of the presenters of food access. The first speaker, Nisha Arunatilak, Director of Research, Institute of Policy Studies of Sri Lanka. And I request Nisha Tilak for present the
Okay, thank you very much.
study.
I am Nisha Arunatilaka from the Institute of Policy Studies of Sri Lanka. I am presenting the work, a collaborative work between IPS and the University of Kelaniya on influence of disasters on the urban poor's food environments and security. So we all know that undernutrition is a big problem in South Asia and so in Sri Lanka as well. And urban poor are one of the most nutritionally vulnerable population. That is because although they live in urban settings, they face a different food environment. So the main objective of our study is how have various crises in Sri Lanka influenced the retail food market, food security, and eating patterns of urban underserved settlements populations. So we use this methodology by Turner et al. To describe the food environment. There is the external domain and the personal domain. External domain is described by the availability of food, food prices, vendor and product properties, and the marketing and regulation. And the personal domain is described by the accessibility of food, the affordability, and the convenience of preparing food given the time and resources the people have, and the desirability of food. And the healthy retail food environment is defined by food environment is defined to be healthy if it is supporting relatively greater availability, affordability, and promotion of healthier food compared to less healthy alternatives. So the study was done from December 2021, so soon after the COVID crisis was ending in Sri Lanka. And just before February 2022, just before the economic crisis started, but the food prices were increasing in the country. And we randomly chose 3 underserved settlements in and around Colombo for the study. And for the study area, we chose the Grama Niladhari division of the underserved settlement, plus a 500-meter buffer zone. So the 3 underserved settlements that we chose were Orugodavatta, Narahempita, and Villa Villa. So first, we conducted a mapping of all the food outlets in these 3 zones. And then through observation and interviewing the vendors, we described the food environment. We used a scoring method where availability, promotion, and prices of low prices of healthy food got better scores, and vice versa for unhealthy foods. And then we also conducted a household survey of key informants from households to understand the personal domain. So it was a 24-hour dietary recall and shopping baskets. And then we used a deductive approach to understand the personal domain of the food environment. So it's important to understand the characteristics of this population that we studied. So about 45% of these were daily wage earners, and about 85% experienced income losses during the pandemic. And over half of the sample households are poor or near poor, and they spend more than 50% of what they earned on food. So this is the result of the external domain. In the red dots, you see the unhealthy food outlets. The green dots show the healthy food outlets, and the amber ones, I don't know whether you can see those, and there are only a few of them, are the in-between ones. And you see Narayanpeta and Urugodavatta, mostly red dots, but there are also some green dots scattered all around. What we also found was during this time, the external domain of the food environment really deteriorated because the import restrictions, the availability of food was reduced, and there was also agricultural crisis going on, so there were food shortages because of import restrictions and also the agricultural issues. So because of that, the prices were increasing. And also because of COVID, the vendors, a lot of vendors shut down. So there again, the food environment was really deteriorating. And this is the personal domain findings. So part of the personal domain, because the people were also experiencing income losses and there was food inflation, their demand for food was deteriorating, and that was also reflected in the external domain because the vendors were now, rather than selling a loaf of bread, they would be selling half a loaf of bread because that's what their households could afford. And what we saw was also very interestingly, these are daily wage earners. So they regularly bought food at very small quantities. So even though they had a lot of outlets selling healthy food around them, even to go 500 meters to get food was too much for them. So they would just buy from very nearby shops, and there the prices were usually more expensive, and the variety of foods available was also less. And they also had this problem of accessibility, as I mentioned earlier, because of the shortages of food. But most importantly, because of the pandemic, the shops were closed during the time of the pandemic, but we had vendors going to these settlements, and that actually improved their food environment because they could access healthy food at their doorstep. So that's an important learning from this. And affordability, of course, was very low because the income was low and the prices were high. And in terms of convenience, they stopped buying from pre-cooked meals because of the pandemic. So they had to prepare most of the food at home. But because of the energy crisis and all of that, it was too costly for them to cook several times. So they cooked once or twice. And also their quantities of meals and everything went down. So in conclusion, food security and nutrition were affected during the crisis, and the food quantity and quality both went down. The food choices were mainly dependent on the affordability and not really the nutrition. And we also saw that the children and adults had different desires. Children went for more unhealthy food than the adults. And the implications, I want to mainly point out, we really need to understand the context of these urban poor when we design policies. So that is something that really came out, although they live in these urban environments, their food environment is very different to what the other people experience in urban settings. So when you design policies, you really need to understand their context.
Thank you very much, Nisha, for our well done presentation. And your presentation, you highlighted the various crises and its associated impacts on food supply chain, market inflation, and food environment, along with linkages with current policies. Any kind of disasters, whether it is natural or man-made or environmental, has the positive impact on food security. Thank you very much, Nisha. Now, I request to deliver the presentations, understanding the impact of disasters and climate displacement on food and water security in Pakistan. Sidra Khalid. Welcome to Sidra Khalid.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sidra Khalid. I'm a researcher with the International Water Management Institute based in Pakistan. Today I'll be presenting some key highlights from a research study connecting the dots between climate change, disasters, and displacement on food and water security for migrant and displaced communities. So a quick background, the study took place under the CG Initiative on Fragility, Conflict, and Migration, or FCM. FCM focuses on enhancing the resilience of food, land, and water systems, particularly in regions facing migration-related challenges. And for Pakistan, we were focused on Work Package 1 on anticipatory action. So Pakistan was chosen as a case study due to its high vulnerability to climate change. It's one of the top 10 most at-risk countries. The last major flood of 2022 impacted 1/3 of the country and cost billions of dollars in loss and damages and drove millions of people into internal displacement. And under FCM, our study is the first of its kind to really assess the vulnerabilities of these climate-induced migrant and displaced communities, whose data is pretty much non-existent in Pakistan. So our specific case study location was District Rahim Yar Khan, which is in the South Punjab province of Pakistan. This district is highly vulnerable to floods and droughts. It also has a high prevalence of waterborne illnesses and malnutrition. And Rahim Yar Khan served us as a unique case study because it is both a disaster-affected district, but also a host community for displaced populations from neighboring regions. So this map just shows the flood extent from the 2022 floods and how people were pushed into the district. And the map on the right shows the extent of crop areas impacted by the flood. So you may know that Pakistan is a predominantly agrarian country, so the flood severely hindered agriculture production. So we employed a multi-stage random sampling approach. We first had to scope the district and identify where these climate migrants and displaced communities are living. So we were guided by well-established methodologies and guidebooks for dealing with displaced and hard-to-access populations. And ultimately, our total sample size that we surveyed was 826 individuals, so 322 women and 504 men. And we also conducted focus groups and key informant interviews across the district to qualify the results. So just to get into the findings, this map on the left shows all the areas that we covered and where we surveyed people. And for brief socio-demographics, these were predominantly male-headed households, mostly uneducated individuals, 83% never having attended school. These are also primarily agrarian households, with 76% of men employed with daily wages and 21% unemployed, with a little over half of the women being homemakers. So the primary driver of migration was floods, and majority migrated or were displaced from other districts in Punjab or within the district itself. So to jump a bit more into some of the key findings I want to highlight, we used the IWISE scale, or the Individual Water Insecurity Experiences scale, in our survey. It's a globally validated tool that measures personal experiences of water insecurity with a score of 12 or higher, indicating that you are water secure. So from our results, a little over half, 54% of respondents are water secure, but it's still concerning that almost half, or 46%, are water insecure. We also looked at the sex disaggregated analysis and found that women are significantly more water insecure than men. So water insecurity, as we all know, is closely linked with food insecurity. So we used FAO's FIAS, or Food Insecurity Experiences Scale, in our survey as well. And our findings showed that all the respondents were categorized in the topmost levels of food insecurity. So nearly 91% experiencing moderate or severe food insecurity, and 60% experiencing severe food insecurity. And this group is characterized by experiencing severe hunger and the most acute form of food deprivation. Through our FGDs, we also heard how floods destroyed crops and disrupted local markets, driving up food prices. In this FGD quote, a woman is sharing how her family survived on soaked bread because staple foods became unaffordable. We also found that women, just like with water insecurity, were also more food insecure than men. They not only experienced greater food insecurity, but we also heard from the discussion, from the interviews, that they often sacrificed their own nutrition to feed their children. So the floods not only disrupted water infrastructure and access, but also contaminated water sources. Poor water quality triggered outbreaks of diarrhea and other waterborne illnesses. And again, women experienced these illnesses at higher rates and also struggled with inadequate menstrual hygiene management due to lack of clean water and privacy. And from FGDs, we also learned that maternal health of women was also impacted with broader health and nutritional implications for their children. So to bring this all together, climate change, disasters, and migration or displacement are often seen as separate challenges, but they are deeply interconnected, creating cycles of vulnerability, particularly in already vulnerable communities. And our study tried to unpack these connections and highlight how disruptions in one system, water, inevitably affects others, like food security and human mobility. So we found that there are key gaps in Pakistan's policies that fail to connect climate change, migration, and water and food insecurity. Gender plays a significant role, with women being more vulnerable to these impacts, highlighting the need for more gender-responsive policies and programs. Secondly, these were communities that were already facing water and food insecurity even before the floods hit, and it only exacerbated their conditions. So for Pakistan, this means that we need to be more proactive rather than reactive in our disaster management, focusing on long-term resilience and anticipatory action strategies. So in conclusion, we are taking our learning from this study in our advocacy work with relevant government departments in Pakistan. So we're recommending for improvement of access to essential services, including nutrition support, and fostering better coordination between departments that usually work in silos. And we also need to collect more disaggregated data on climate migrants and displaced persons, and more mapping of these water and food insecurity hotspots to identify where the most vulnerable populations are for targeted interventions. And lastly, we need to better integrate climate migration challenges into national policies for improved disaster response that also addresses broader issues of public health and nutritional needs. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sidra Khalid. Dear audience, we know disasters and climate change are the most important factors to food access. In the presentation, Sidra Khalid tried to emphasize on climate-related vulnerabilities in connection with food security, wash, and also morbidity and other displacement. Thank you very much. Now, I request LMF Safna, University of Peradeniya, Sri Lanka. Her topic is food insecurity, nutritional deficiencies, and academic challenges, evaluation among undergraduates at the university level. I request LMF Safna.
Hello everyone, I am LMF Safna, BSc graduate student from Department of Food Science and Technology, Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya. This is my undergraduate research study which I have done as a case study to identify the food insecurity, nutritional deficiencies and academic challenges among undergraduates of University of Peradeniya. Let's briefly move on to the study context. Here I have stated a evidence-based insight done by Kartihesu in 2016, and it indicated that food insecure household had high nutritional deficiencies, especially for iron and protein, compared to food secure household. So the main objective of this case study is to identify the association between food insecurity and nutritional deficiencies among undergraduate students based on protein iron deficiency, and also to understand the academic challenges of undergraduates related to food insecurity using qualitative method. Then let's move on to the method briefly. Here, here the study is done based on two methods. The first one is quantitative. Here I have concentrated mainly on undergraduates of Faculty of Agriculture. Here for the data collection process, I have given an interview guided questionnaire including socio-demographic characteristics, dietary data and health conditions, and along with global food insecurity experience scale with 8 questions. And serum ferritin and serum albumin tests were done to measure iron deficiency and protein deficiency respectively. For qualitative method, a random sample of 13 students were selected from above sample who have low moderate food security level, and then 5 photos were collected which were representing their experiences. And then finally, individual interviews were done to explore the theme related to food excess. Then let's move on to the main part. Here I have indicated some of the characteristics of the sample based on quantitative analysis. Here all 4 batches from Faculty of Agriculture have selected, and students are from 21 to 28 year age gap, and most of them are from females. Then for the distribution of food insecurity level across the sample, here 9% of students are having low food security, and 32 are having moderate, and 59 were having high food security level. For the distribution of serum ferritin level across the sample population, 31% of students are having low serum ferritin level. This is one of the main matter we want to pay our focus on. For normal, 62 and high, 70%. But there is no any data indicating that low serum ferritin albumin level in students. Then the main objective part is to identify the association between food insecurity and serum ferritin level. According to the data analysis, there is a significant relationship between them, and moreover, along with the food security, gender became a significant predictor of serum ferritin level, and here women are the vulnerable community. Then for the serum albumin level, there is no any significant relationship, but gender became a significant predictor here. Then let's move on to the qualitative part. Here, these are some of the photographs I have collected from students which representing the food excess availability in campus. You can see most of them are filled with biscuits and instant noodles and fast foods, which they consume as their main 3 meals. And also this interview was explored under main 5 basic themes, which are regularity of food consumption among students, places where they consume their food when they are residing in hostels, and also the impact of food insecurity on health and academic performances, and diversity availability of food when they are residing in hostels, and finally some suggestions they would like to give to increase the food insecurity of students when they are residing in hostels. Most of them indicated that they tend to skip one of their meals regularly because of the time constraints, busy schedules, mainly by financial constraints. They have indicated in the economic crisis period which occurred in Sri Lanka, the expense of a plate food has increased very drastically. Because of that, they have reduced their 3 meals into 2 meals. Not only that, but also they have indicated the diversity of their plate for a meal is very low, and they almost all days eat same types of food every day. And also instant noodles, biscuits, and fast foods has become their meal regularly. Some of the health-related problems they faced are vomiting, micronutrient deficiencies, weight loss, which has a lack of nutrition, which has made drastic effect on their academic performances, which affected their degree achievement too. Finally, for the conclusion part, as according to their suggestions, decreasing the price values and concentrating on nutrition-rich fruit which are available locally in low cost is a suggestion given by them to reduce this effect. And also for the quantitative part, the iron deficiency is 31%. This is one of the main factor should concern, as the female groups are more vulnerable for this iron deficiency. So some of the suggestions this university administration can take is to continuous monitoring the canteens for high nutritional foods, and also giving dietary supplements even for female students, and decreasing price level. So finally, I would like to conclude my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sapna. Very young presenter. We appreciate you for your nice presentation. We all know that when food insecurity, many deficiencies occur in our body. In food insecure stage, we have different food insecurity as well as micronutrient deficiencies. Sapna tried to measure quantitatively serum ferritin level as well as albumin level. Her contribution to this study will make a difference for better academic compliance. Thank you very much. Now I would like to invite Mohammad Mokbul Hossain from BRAC University, Bangladesh, to present his topics, predictors of changes in household food insecurity in rural, urban, non-slum urban and slum areas of Bangladesh. Evidence from a longitudinal study. Please start.
Hello everyone. I would like convey my sincere gratitude to IFPRI and other partners and co-hosts for giving me an opportunity to present our research. Today I am going to talk on behalf of our co-authors about predictor changes in food insecurity, rural, non-slum, urban and slum areas of Bangladesh, evidence from a longitudinal study. I am going to talk you through the presentation outline, introduction, method, result, implication. So rationale and objectives, our study, food insecurity is big concern in Bangladesh, deeply impacting nutrition and overall development. Food security varies significantly across rural, non-slum, urban and slum areas of Bangladesh, exposing with unique vulnerabilities. In our study, we aim to identify the predictor changes, household food insecurity, between 2 rounds, 2018-19 and 23, in rural, non-slum, urban and slum areas. So I am going to method section. To address our study objective, we conducted a longitudinal study across all 8 administrative divisions of Bangladesh with 2 rounds of data collection. First round is 2018, 19, and second round is 2023. We used multi-stage cluster sampling according to 8 administrative divisions of Bangladesh. Our samples is around 12,000 of household in 82 cluster. Rural is 9,000, urban non-slum urban is 1,400, and slum area is 1,300. Data collection collected through 2 face-to-face interview, a structured questionnaire, facilitated by Kobo Toolbox, application the tablet computers. For analysis, here is the sampling design of rural non-slum urbans. Down is rural, and middle on is non-slum urban, and top is slum. And our study mapping in the 82 sentinel sites is rural, non-slum urban, and slum areas. In outcome variables is food security, is the outcome variables, explanatory variables, all literature review. In the data availability, the variables of p-value is less than 2.2 in unadjusted analysis. Data analysis, we applied generalized equation to account for the longitudinal data nature. Finally, we conducted institutional review board from Bragg James P. Grant School of Public Health, and all the participants are informed consent from. So now I'm going to our result section. Is a household food insecurity transition is here. To predictor changes in rural areas is 50% is remain unchanged. In the slum areas is 63%, and non-slum areas is 48%. Now is the regression model is household food insecurity with a generalized equation. Is the table. I am going to summary table, these 2 slides. Predictor of changes in a household food insecurity is summary. Now let's look at the predictor. We identified common and unique factors across 3 settings. Common predictor of rural, non-slum urban, and slum areas. On the other hand, higher education of household head and a higher household wealth index were associated with a decreased food insecurity. Poor sanitation was associated increased food insecurity. In rural areas, especially household Rangpur and Sylhet division were more likely to experience food insecurity. Larger number of children and adolescents are more likely to increase food insecurity risks. However, household with more adult members, remittance, income, livestock owner, agriculture was less likely to face food insecurity. In non-slum areas, household in Chattogram, Dhaka, and Khulna division were higher risk food insecurity. Having more adult males in a household was protective. In the slum areas, female-headed household and those in Rangpur division were more vulnerable to food insecurity. And policy implication, our findings underscore that food insecurity remains a pressing challenge in Bangladesh, particularly in slum areas. Where the vulnerabilities are most pronounced, the difference across rural, non-slum, urban, and slum areas reveal both common, unique predictor, that unique tailored intervention. Now, programmatic implication. Based on these findings, we propose several key strategies to address food insecurity. First, target regional intervention are critical to bridge between division. For example, addressing higher food insecurity in Rangpur and Sylhet division. In rural areas, focusing on Chattogram, Dhaka, and Khulna in non-slum urban areas. Second program should be focused improving education and economic resilience, particularly through asset ownership, as those factors consistently reduce food insecurity across all settings. Third, in slum areas, the unique vulnerabilities of female-headed households must be addressed through target safety net programs and improved individual. Sorry. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Mokbul Hossain, Bragg University. In collaboration with Bangladesh National Nutrition Council and Bragg University, we are doing many researches many times. As it is a longitudinal study, you try to show a negative relationship between household food insecurity with poor sanitation, unclean fuel, while this is a positive link with household food insecurity, with household education and high household wealth, both rural and urban context. Thank you for your presentation. Now, last presenter, I would like to request Muhammad Mahbub Rahman, FPMU, Bangladesh, for delivering his presentation. Muhammad Mahbub Rahman, Director, Bangladesh Food Planning and Monitoring Unit, Ministry of Food, Bangladesh.
Assalamu alaikum and very good afternoon to you all. My research topic is an assessment of a food-based social protection program and its impact on food and nutrition security in the targeted household in Bangladesh. I am Muhammad Mahbub Rahman, Research Director, FPM, Ministry of Food. People's Republic of Bangladesh, there is a constitutional obligation. It is the fundamental responsibility to the state to ensure for their citizens food, cloth, shelter, education, and medical care. And Article 15, subsection D, the right to social security. And another Article 18, subsection 1, the state that raising the level of nutrition and improvement of public health and among the primary duties of the state. Ministry of Food is responsible to establish a dependable national food security system and stable the price of food grains. Accordingly, Ministry of Food has implemented various food-based social security protection program, including open market sale, that is OMS program. The OMS is institute an effective tool for food grain market price stability as well as economical access to food for low income people since 1978. Rationale. The government is distributed about 5 to 7 lakh metric ton of rice and wheat every year through open market sale. This is important to understand that what are the impact of effectiveness of OMS program on food security. The objective of the studies was to identify the effect of OMS program on purchasing power and access to food. Next objective was to assess the effectiveness of program of food intake and food diversification to ensure food and nutrition security to the people, and to invest the effectiveness of the program of market price stability. And last one was to identify the problem of OMS program. The methodology was, study area was only 3 districts out of 64 districts in Bangladesh. These 3 districts was selected by the IPC, Integrated Phase Classification, according to the IPC report. Time frame was February to June 2024. Sample size was primary data collection from 1,107 persons. That is, beneficiaries of OMS program was 500, non-beneficiary of OMS was 500, and OMS dealer 26 persons, and traders, rice and wheat traders, that is 81, and sampling technique was stratified random sampling. Data type primary and secondary data was collected, and data collection procedure was in person, one-to-one interview. Here, special consideration was similar income group was considered, near about similar, that is beneficiary, monthly income of beneficiary group was that is near about 10,000 taka per month, and monthly income of non-beneficiary group was 12,000, near about 12,000 taka. And the result and findings. Difference between OMS and market price. At the time of the data collection, the market price of rice was near about 38 to 55 taka per kilo, and that is flour or atta, that was around 36 to 50 taka per kilo. And OMS price, that is determined by the government, the OMS price was rice was 30 taka per kilo, and flour price was 24 taka. That was about lower, 35% lower in case of rice price, and 45% lower of in case of atta or wheat price. Here we survey that is comparative use of sanitary latrine by OMS beneficiaries and non-beneficiaries. Here we can say the beneficiary, they are using more sanitary latrines than the non-beneficiary respondent. And on the other hand, the semi-sanitary, they are also the beneficiaries of OMS dealers, OMS owners, they are using more. Next, we are looking for use of electricity. We observe that OMS beneficiaries use more electricity, and use of television, OMS beneficiaries use more their access to television more. And next, the number of respondents use mobile phones, beneficiary of OMS, they use more. And percentage of beneficiaries spend saving from the OMS. From the OMS, they get some benefits due to price. They said they can, their food item, 40% said they can buy more food, and then that was, they spend their in education, and lastly they can use their benefits in treatment. Food and nutrition situation in terms of age DDS, there we see the benefit, that is OMS beneficiaries response, they get high dietary diversity than the non-beneficiary. Again, medium dietary diversity, they also get benefit. Next, the food and nutrition situation in terms of food consumption score. The acceptable high level, the more. And this recommendation was OMS beneficiaries receive food grain in the incentive price, increase their purchasing power for access other nutritious food. The calculative comparative food consumption score and HDDS indicate that OMS beneficiaries are more food and nutrition secure than the non-OMS beneficiaries. Therefore, OMS program support improve the food and nutrition security in the OMS beneficiaries household, and thereby contribute the food and nutrition security of overall the food nutrition security situation. Okay, there are some recommendation. OMS distribution, it should be that is, it should be more specified for the there should be a card holder, and it should be and other things, that is the they said pulses and cooking oil should be included, and that should be distribution as per the household sizes. Thank you very much. Thank
you. Mohammad Mahbubur Rahman, for your nice presentation. You showed the positive impact on food access by OMS system in Bangladesh. OMS is the largest program of Food Ministry of Food access is facilitated by government. One of these is OMS. By this, these rice and wheat flour are sold at subsidized price. For lower income people, it brings a remedy in food insecurity by accessing main food groups. So we enjoyed 5 presentations by 5 presenters. Now, according to our session design, it's a time for question and answer. I would request all audience to ask questions reflecting the nature of the presentation, and it will only 10 minutes presentation, question and answer period. Request for asking question. Thank you.
Can I request all the presenters to kindly go up on the stage? All the oral presenters, please. And if you have questions, you can come to this mic or go on that end to ask your question. Please keep your questions very short. We are running a little bit late, and we would like to give time to our rapid fire presenters as well.
Dear audience, now I am giving the microphone to Dr. Geeta Sheth.
Thank you, Chair. A warm welcome and great presentation. Let me start with questions. I think we have a gentleman there.
Hello, this is Mushfiqul Alam. I am representing Bangladesh, working one of the project called Nutrition in City Ecosystem. I have a specific question to regarding the OMS, right? In Bangladesh, OMS is included the dry food. Is there any possibilities to include fresh vegetables? Thank you.
Let's take a few questions.
Hi, I also have a question. I'm Joanna from IFPRI, based here in Colombo. So regarding the OMS, I feel like one thing that your presentation revealed was that there wasn't very much difference in terms of the welfare indicators for the beneficiaries of the program and the non-beneficiaries. And I wanted to know if you had done some more analysis and thought about that and what were kind of the requirements for the program in the first place.
Thank you.
Any more questions, or should we go to the panelists? Let's go to the panelists.
Thank you very much for your nice question. That you requested that is there any scope to fresh vegetables in OMS? According to the roles and business of Ministry of Food, there is no scope to include the fresh food and vegetables. But in our research proposal, we identified that is lentil and cooking oil should be included. But there is a new program under the Ministry of Agriculture, Department of DEM. They are they are doing OMS, like OMS, fresh vegetables for the consumers. Thank you very much.
There was another question.
Yeah. Yes, sorry, maybe I missed that question.
All right, I'm back.
Sorry.
So in your slide results, you were showing us the different welfare indicators for OMS, and we saw that the results weren't that different in terms of who benefited from the program and who didn't benefit. For example, they had more cell phones, the beneficiaries of the program, than the non-beneficiaries, and the income gap was quite small, right, and, as well as the sanitation gap. So I was wondering how, if you had used that data to do any analysis into who's actually benefiting from the program and how those, the targets for the program, even participating in the program, are designed.
Thank you very much. That is the beneficiary and non-beneficiary. From the beneficiaries, they are getting price support. They are getting, they can benefit from the price support because market price, when market price is very high, the OMS price is government, and that is government determine the OMS price. From that particular benefit, they can use more other commodities, nutritious commodities, and they can be benefited. So result is come just this way, that those are beneficiaries, they are getting more advantages, and they can get more social, that is, they are getting that is benefited from the society. This is the result of this report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If there are no more questions, should we go to the rapid fire round? Okay. A big hand and applause to all the panelists. Thank you so much. Okay, let me invite so we are going to have 5 rapid fire rounds, of which 3 are in person and 2 are online. Let me start with people who are in the room. It's my pleasure to invite Mohammad Sadat Anwar, Research Analyst, International Food Policy Research Institute. You'll have 2 minutes.
Thank you. First, I would like to acknowledge my co-author, Abdul Jabbar Shakil from IFPRI Dhaka, and also my co-author, Mohammad Masum Ali from the Emory University, Emory University, United States. So our paper is called The Determinants of Household Diet Diversity in Bangladesh, Role of Women's Empowerment in Agriculture. So for this research, we used cross-sectional data from IFPRI's 2018-19 Bangladesh Integrated Household Survey, which is a nationally representative survey of, which is divisionally representative. So the sample size for this survey was about 5,600, and we used a simple OLS regression. For the household diet diversity, we used FAO's household diet diversity score indicator, and for our independent variables, we used WIA, Women's Empowerment in Agriculture Index, which was co-developed by IFPRI and USAID, and piloted in early 2010s. So the household diet diversity score indicator actually have 12 food groups, and for this regression analysis, we also use some control variables like household income, remittances, schooling, and household size. So we found in our research that there exists a significant positive association between household diet diversity score and women's empowerment in agriculture. And we also found that there is significant association between income and schooling. So we also found that the remittances have strong association, but we could not find any sort of significant association of domestic remittance and social safety net transfer, which actually indicates their insignificant contribution in total household expenditure. So this, from a policy perspective, if a policymaker wants to increase household diet diversity, they should actually focus on increasing women's empowerment and income and education in rural settings. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, and thank you for sticking to the time. It's my pleasure to invite Puneet Mishra, Lead Research and Partnerships Population Council, for the next rapid fire. You will have 2 minutes, sir.
Yeah, sure. No pressure. 2 minutes, one slide. Super. Okay, so thank you so much for inviting me here first. I love the theme, connecting the dots. And I'll be speaking about geography where these dots are a little blurry and connecting them gets a little difficult. I'm talking about a state, Mizoram, which is a border state. I'm talking about a state where the population is more than 95% belongs to scheduled tribes. And can I, yeah, okay. This presentation is part of a study that we conducted with Ministry of Women and Child Development, Government of Mizoram. The two ladies who led the whole initiative, Madam Joram Thangi Sangate, the director of the ministry, is here, along with the lady who leads the Poshan Abhiyan, Ms. Sailopari. These two ladies are the people who you should talk to if you want to understand how any research such as this or how any evidences that we generate can actually connect the dots in programs. So quickly, in 1 minute, why we picked Mizoram? You know, you define an indicator in the vulnerability battery, the state has it, tribal population, different food habits, different food preparation, consumption, access issues, whatnot. And the study was conducted in a district called Mamit, which is an aspirational district of the Prime Minister of India. Again, that's the most vulnerable district. And it shares the international border, so access gets really difficult there. What we did, we actually used a multi-stage sampling, and we kind of surveyed around 500 children, 260 pregnant and lactating mothers, and 62 Anganwadi centers. And what we found that it's a bit improved than the DHS-5 in India found, that the DHS said 30% of children are stunted. Our study said, yes, it's not 30%, but yeah, 25%, which is still pretty huge. 1 in 6 households in Mamit district actually suffers from food insecurity. 18% of pregnant women had low diabetes diversity, and around 17% lactating women had low diabetes diversity score. Now, think about a district which has a border, think about district which has a vulnerability, and think about the programs, how to connect it. Somebody in the morning session talked about system, somebody in the morning session talked about contextualizing, and I think this is where we should think about this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. May I invite Nazia Islam, Learning Evaluation and Documentation Specialist, BRAC, for the next 2 minutes rapid fire.
Hi, I'm Nazia from BRAC University. I'm going to talk about the changes and causes of food insecurity among the slum dwellers due to the pandemic, and the nature and extent of the support they received from the duty bearers. We used data from 2 rounds of national level cross-sectional survey conducted before and after the pandemic, and 2 rounds of qualitative interviews during the pandemic. We found that food security reduced in urban slums after the pandemic hit, and it affected the already vulnerables as well as the new groups. From the graph, you can see the food security reduced from 51% to 39% after the pandemic, and its spectrum of food insecurity shifted towards moderate and severe. The causes we identified were decreased affordability due to job loss, loss in business, limited access to loan, price hike, etc., and reduced accessibility due to mobility restriction and shop closure. Though the slum dwellers received food and cash support from government NGOs, but it was inadequate and sporadic. The slum dwellers regarded this support as favor, not as their rights. They felt more powerless as corruption and faulty beneficiary selection process was a common phenomenon. The result implies that the pandemic magnified the food insecurity manifolds, but the state failed miserably to ensure food security. Moreover, the slum residents lacked clarity on their rights to get assistance. So, clear policies and better accountability mechanism needs to be established for now and, of course, for any further crisis to uphold the right to food of the slum dwellers. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Next 2 minutes presenter is virtual. Binod Khanal, postdoctorate researcher, Prairie View, A&M University. Binod, you have 2 minutes.
All right. Can you hear me?
Very well.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for having me. My name is Binod, and I'm a postdoc here at Texas, United States. The title of my presentation is Food and Nutritional Diversity by Ethnicity in Nepal. As we know that food and nutritional security among ethnic minorities are concerning because food, health, and income, they are intercorrelated with each other and one affecting other like pretty, seriously. So what we did in this work, we used 3 waves of EHRBS, that is Household Risk and Vulnerability Survey data survey conducted by World Bank from 2016 to 2018. We used the consumption data and other socioeconomic variables and employed a random effect model and ESTER model to find out how ethnicity impacts food diversity, consumption scores, and diversity scores at the household level. So this is the model we used. We are more focused on the lists that are in the lower hierarchy of the caste and ethnic system in Nepal. And this is this short table describes about the estimates. These results are the lists, consumption score and dietary diversity scores are significantly less than those of higher caste, that is Brahmin and Kshatriya, while other castes like Janjati, like mostly other ethnic minorities, CS and consumption score and dietary diversity scores are not that different than those of higher castes. ESTER models suggest that food diversity and consumption scores of the elites would have been 8.5% and 12% higher, respectively, if they had characteristics of higher caste. That means because of some characteristics that higher caste has, they are more access to market, like income level, other education level, other different, access to land and everything, because that's why they are having those high dietary diversity that is like good, food secure. If like the elites would have like that characteristics, they would be much better positioned. So the recommendation from this short study is the elite targeted nutritional support and education programs are recommended. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Our last and final speaker for the day is Namita Das, Assistant Professor, Natural Science Research Center, Vidyasagar University. Over to you, Namita.
Hello, everyone. I am Namita Das, a PhD scholar at Bilda College, Vidyasagar University, representing the Shamposham Foundation. Street food and catering services are crucial for urban dining, but raise concerns about food safety and public health challenges due to their informal nature. Using a mixed method approach, our study assessed food safety practices among first trained, untrained, and aspiring vendors as well as caterers to identify issues and recommend solutions. We found that trained vendors followed better practices such as hand washing, utensil sanitization, and safe food storage, which help reduce contamination risks. Untrained vendors often used bare hands, leading to unsafe practices that compromise food quality and pose health risks to consumers. Caterers face challenges like outdoor cooking during weddings and celebrations in unsanitary conditions, reliance on uncleaned utensils from decorators, and tight budgets that prevented investment in hygiene. Across all groups, high costs of ingredients, lack of clean water, and poor waste management directly impacted food safety. From a nutrition perspective, vendors and caterers focused heavily on calorie-dense, trans-fat-rich foods like fried snacks, rolls, and biryani. Healthier options such as fresh fruits, salads, or low-oil dishes were avoided due to high costs and low demand, leading to poor dietary diversity and impacting urban food security. To address these issues, vendors and caterers suggested training programs, financial support for hygienic equipment, clean water access, and waste disposal systems. Additionally, there is a need for consumer awareness campaigns to encourage healthier food choice and improve demand for nutritious options. By improving training, infrastructure, and policymakers, collaborations can enhance food safety, ensure access to nutritious food, and promote better public health. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause to all the rapid fire. I know it was very, very tight, but you kept to the time and came out with strong messages. We are also very aware that we are between you and lunch. So thank you for being here, and thank you for letting me chair, and thank you, co-chair. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Already, Dr. Geeta said the period of lunch, but our closing remarks. It was a very nice session that we enjoyed. Unfortunately, we have reached at the end of our event. I would like to thank our all speakers for their excellent presentations and valuable insights. And I thank the audience for their engagement and thoughtful questions. Please join me in giving a big round of applause to our panelists. We hope this session inspires action and collaboration as we continue working together towards sustainable and nutrition sensitive food systems. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you to our chairs. Thank you, Geeta ji. Thank you, Tahirul ji. Can we ask all our presenters, both rapid fire and oral, to please come up on the stage for the group photo? While the group photo is happening, just wanted to let you know that we will break for lunch and we will come back sharp at 1:15 for the last thematic session for this conference. The session that will run in this room is nutrition, knowledge, and access to information. And the session that will run in the in the saffron and ginger room will be digital innovation across food and health systems. So please be back. Nobody likes to make a presentation to an empty room. Request all of you to please come back at 1:15 for the final thematic session for this conference. And enjoy your lunch.